All right, well, this next Meet the Artist presentation is going to take a look at the artwork of William Eggleston. So, Eggleston is a photographer, of course, and he's actually still living. He's 77 years old at the time I'm making this video. He was born in 1939 uh, in Memphis, Tennessee. So, Eggleston is a little bit different. He's a pioneer of a certain kind of photography, and really he's the pioneer of color photography. I mean, while color photography had existed before him, he's the guy. It had always been looked down upon by uh, fine art critics, for example. So in before 1970s, in museums, if there was going to be a photograph in a museum, a fine art museum, then it was going to be a black and white. And there was just this bias against color photography. It was seen as less than for some reason. So William Eggleston was really one of the first, or perhaps the first, to make color photography a legitimate artistic medium for display in art galleries. And we'll take a look at this first photograph that he took. Not the first one that he took, but the first one that I'm going to show you. And it's just like an everyday scene of, looks like a diner perhaps, and then some Tabasco sauce and salt and pepper. And just look at it for a second, and I want you to notice a couple things. Look at the red, the quality of the red in like that candle vase there, and also the top of the Tabasco jar, and how it plays against the table. What do you call those things? Place mat, tablecloth. Those colors do not sort of. How do I want to put this? Those colors were the result of hard work by Eggleston in the darkroom. So, for example, you could arrange these items on a table in a diner and pull your iPhone up and snap a picture, and I'm going to guarantee you it won't look like this. In order to understand the real artistry of this, you have to understand that the colors that he was able to achieve are very unique. Like the reds are really interesting, in the way that they sort of play together. So really look carefully at this and just try to appreciate that what he was doing was pretty novel, and he was pushing the idea of color into new boundaries. So the next one here is, again, 1970s are when he took most of his most influential photographs. This looks like it could be outside of a, what's it say, Toyland, I don't know, just a department store perhaps. An everyday scene. It almost looks like he's inside of his car and he snaps the picture. And I like these kind of photographs a lot. Again, they make me feel like I'm a time traveler or something like that. But just, again, notice the colors. And again, this is not the kind of thing that you're going to, not the kind of photograph that you're going to get if you just take a photograph with your iPhone. Now, you could, if you were like an advanced photographer, go into all of the different settings that I've been showing you, and you could kind of come close maybe to something like this. But it would take a lot of practice to get the kind of quality that you see here. So the next image then is, it looks like somebody on, it looks like it could be for an advertisement. In fact, it would surprise me if it wasn't. Looks like on an airplane, and somebody's stirring a drink with ice in it. And I just think, there's something about the quality of the reflection, the color in the reflection, and then the color in the glass itself. They're such rich colors, but they're not, I don't know how he did it, to be honest. It's a little bit of a mystery. It's not that he saturated everything. There was like some selective editing. He was pushing some of these, if you had an iPhone, it's like he was manipulating some of the sliders in certain ways. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure how he pulled it off. But the reds are what I always notice in his artwork. The next image here again, William Eggleston and his reds, they just, he seems to be gravitating toward that color. And he always, maybe he has that color in his mind as he takes photographs or develops them as well. So this, again, everyday scene, but he brings it to a level of high art. So, and the next one. Now I have to admit that this one was a bit hard for me to understand, and I don't say that I understand it now. And even if I did, I don't know if I could explain it. But what you're looking at here is that it's a red room, of course, but if you look, the lights that come off the top, now I figured this out a while back, that they're extension cords that run to black lights. So this is a room that had a, you can actually see one in the upper right hand corner, in the middle on the right hand side, the extension cord runs right into, it's a black light. So you know what a black light is, but that's the idea. So this room was somebody's pad that they hung out in or whatever. And so what is the significance of taking a photograph of a light bulb with extension cords running off of it in a red room? Well, I don't know. That's kind of for maybe William Eggleston to tell us. But nonetheless, like, I like photographs like this for a certain reason. And it's because, you know, how do I want to put this? Normally, we take pictures of very conventional things. Our friends, maybe like specific objects or you know, specific events, and then we tag them and put them on Facebook. But there's all kind of life that passes by that we never see. Or no, not that, well, yeah, that we never see. We always, you know, think about that for a second. Like, all of these little moments that pass by that we just don't even see. And I think that's why I like Eggleston and some of these other photographers, because these are like the moments, these are the things and the moments and the images that pass by that normally we don't ever see. Like, they could be forgotten in history and nobody would know. And now here's another one too. Outside of a gas station, looks like two guys sitting on a car outside of a gas station, again in the 70s. But again, this is a moment that it could very well just have been completely forgotten. And then here we are in our time machine, traveling back to the 1970s, and we get to hang out in this spot where Eggleston took this picture. Again, the quality of these colors is just top notch. If you're submitting photographs that have this quality of color in them, congratulations. I think you should have a career in photography. and just being able to see that this photograph has compelling color takes a certain amount of maybe of just looking at a lot of photographs, because most photographs don't look like this. So maybe the more you look at photographs, the more you can understand the relevance of what Eggleston is doing. And the next photograph here is a nighttime scene, and I personally love this the idea of taking photographs at night. Now, notice how on the there's actually in this image like areas of complete black. If you had a histogram up on this right here, you'd see there's all kind of black in this, like jet black. The histogram would be crammed up to the left hand side, and it would say you're losing all kind of information. But this is exactly what the image calls for. I mean, I think he couldn't have done better. There's an element of mystery to it. The sky is perfectly exposed. You know, the lights are illuminating some texture on the building, and there's darkness down the sideway, which just adds to the mystique. So the last picture we'll take a look at here is kind of in the vein of some of Friedlander's, but again, the color kind of takes it over the top here. This is a photograph of some advertisements for tires and seat covers and auto tops, whatever. Car wash, looks faded and junked up. And this is what is he saying here? This looks like it could be more like the late 70s or early 80s. But what is he trying to say here? Well, again, I don't want to speak for Eggleston, but it's something. I mean, it's not like he's trying to take pictures of some beautiful sunset. He's trying to say that this is us. This is modern life in some way. So It's interesting. You think of it what you will. I hope you enjoyed it.